The follow-up to the Oscar-winning film Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins, is If Beale Street Could Talk. The film follows a young girl who gets pregnant and her fiance gets imprisoned, and she basically has to try and clear his name. The film follows the story of their romance. It follows the story of racism in America during that time period. I think from the beginning, though, the film sets itself off to be quite an interesting story. We see the family dynamic between Tisha and, I guess backwards thinking family members who don't agree with the idea that, she should be having a baby without being married, that kind of thing. Very of its time attitudes, and even today there will be religious people who have this mindset, but there isn't really any sort of follow-up on that. We don't really see those family members come back or have any sort of integral role in the film. I would like to have seen more of that. It's not a big issue, but it just sort of seemed to be like quite a significant thing, but then it sort of just breezes by. And the role of the family throughout the film isn't as significant as I expected in general. I mean, we do see some scenes with Fonny's father and talking about like racism in America and stuff like that. It does lead to some interesting moments, but honestly, I would have liked to have seen more of that in the film. Regina King has an Oscar nomination, but she's really in the film for like 10 minutes. I know supporting actors and actresses don't have to be in the film for very long to get a nomination. But it really seems like this year they're literally nominating people who made their way into a film for like 10 minutes and that's it. Her performance was pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel as though her character had enough of a role to really impact me in any kind of way, or really impact the story in any kind of way. But I do love the development in the romance between the two characters, Fonny and Tisha. I really love all the scenes that they're in. There are some really beautiful crafted scenes that really make you feel their romance, honestly. There are some incredible moments as well from the directing of Barry Jenkins. Of course, he's just a talented guy at this point. He made Moonlight. It was a great film. To follow up from Moonlight, though, it was a pretty tough task, I would say. And for me, it just doesn't quite live up to that. Not that it was meant to, but I definitely feel quite underwhelmed with this film. I didn't really ever feel like I was sucked into the story at any point. There were some really good scenes, like where they pick an apartment and a Jewish guy says, hey, who gives a shit about the race that you are? I'm just here to support the love that you've got and give you a home. Moments like that leave for some really lovely, potent moments in the story that I really appreciate. And the themes of racism are tackled really well too. Not going to go too heavy into spoilers with this one or anything, but I think the film ends off pretty solidly. I would say, though, that for the film, the narration from Tisha's character didn't really feel necessary. I don't know, it's like, it wasn't like she was telling a story. It was more just like commentary on what was going on. It didn't really feel like a necessary addition for me. I kind of feel like that's one thing films always seem to get wrong. Like, especially recently, I've just seen a good chunk of films that just have narration for really no reason other than just to have a random voice just voicing over scenes that I don't know why it really felt like necessary for the film. It just could have been left without, really. Not really a huge problem with the film, but it definitely didn't feel like it needed to be there. It's just a minor gripe of mine. But yeah, overall, it's pretty solid, this film. I can't say it's anywhere near on the level of Moonlight, though. Like, if you're going into this thinking, okay, Barry Jenkins made Moonlight, surely this is going to be on that level, then I feel like you may be slightly disappointed. But at the same time, a lot of people do love this film, so I guess that is just my opinion, really. It does tackle the themes of racism very well. It does tackle the themes of what couples have to go through when, the father can't be a permanent figure, when there's going to be a baby on the way. I think it does deal with those themes quite well. I just think overall the tone of the film was just kind of dry. I think it was, there could have been something added in that might have added to the story, maybe just a nice soundtrack or something, just a nice score in the background, but it did feel quite dry throughout. But overall, I'll go 6 out of 10. It's a solid film, definitely worth your time if you haven't already seen it. Always going to be up for seeing what Barry Jenkins does next, because he's just a really good director. But I do think next time I'd like to see a more interesting story develop. If you have seen this film, let me know your thoughts on it, your overall opinion of the film. Let me know how I can improve what I'm doing here, because I am in the early days of doing this, and I'd love to hear people's welcoming opinions. So thank you for watching. Subscribe for more reviews. Let me know what I should talk about next, which film you'd like to hear me ramble on about, and have a good day. Goodbye.